The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the City of Neenah Common Council meeting for Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. The first item on the agenda is the roll call. The clerk will call the roll, and please also indicate your presence on your roll call device.
Alderman Boyette.
Here.
Alderman Erickson is excused. Alderman Hillstrom.
Here.
Lundrum.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
Holnow.
Here.
Steiner.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
And Council President Borchard is excused.
Thank you. I would like to ask Alderman Boyette and Alderman Hillstrom to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on the agenda is the presentation on the Carpenter Preserve by Park and Rec Director Michael Kading.
Good evening. We on or? Hello. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. So good evening. Thank you very much. Michael Kading, Director of Parks and Recreation. For those that don't know me, and for those of you who do, I'm sorry. But anyways, wanted to say a couple thank yous to Lee Hillstrom, council member who has been hounding me since the day I arrived here about getting working and getting started on Carpenter Preserve. Scott Weber, also a council person, has been very supportive from a Park and Recreation Commission perspective, offering advice, meeting with neighbors, trying to just work through the system and understand how and about we go about getting this done. I also want to introduce Jerry Andrews. I think most of you folks know Jerry, but Jerry is a long-standing supporter of the Park and Recreation system, of getting Carpenter Preserve up and running, making it a thoroughfare, making it a usable space for our residents of the great city of Neenah. Also want to recognize Frank. I think you all recognize Frank. Frank's been around, volunteer, worker, extraordinaire. He shows up in places I don't even know that he shows up, and he's just there. But Frank has graciously agreed to help us out with volunteerism at Carpenter Preserve and throughout the Park and Recreation system. So special thanks to these two gentlemen that are here. Dennis Kittle, who is the Fox Cities Greenway president, was unable to make it tonight, but he is also working behind the scenes. There's been a fund established at Fox Cities Greenways specifically for Carpenter Preserve. It'll be donor advised. It'll be a great asset in the years to come in getting things accomplished out at Carpenter Preserve. So thank you for that. Tonight, just want to quickly walk through where we've been, where we are today, and where we're going in the future. So hopefully everything works. Where have we been in a little bit of our history? In 1996, 30 acres was purchased out of the current 103 acres that are out there. 71 acres were purchased in 1999. We then completed a master plan in September of '02. It took us 21 years to complete a second master plan. I don't want to give you the illusion that we didn't do anything between those 21 years, because we did. Park staff was out there maintaining, volunteers were spreading wood chips on the trails, buckthorn invasive species were being removed, but it became difficult to work off of the old plan given it was missing some of the key components, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. In June of '24, wetland delineation report was completed and submitted to the DNR. In '25, after listening to the residents, after looking at the wetland delineation, sitting down with our team, we devised a revised master plan and implementation mapping. And that's probably the most key component of everything that we have going on here today. Just reviewing, here is the O2 plan. It does really exist. Couple takeaways from that plan is this map. And if you look closely, the boundary map has Pendleton Drive and it stops. We all know today it goes through. There's also just one subdivision out there, and we have no park neighbors. Sometimes designing and building a park in a void, it can be good, but sometimes it can be a little bit difficult too when you haven't put anything in, and now there's expectations or non-expectations. And in 02, this is the master plan that was developed. And again, there's a full booklet, there's full information behind all of this. Majority of the work or the development was on the north end, and then again on the south end at Highway G. What I found interesting as I was reviewing and preparing for tonight's presentation was the thought that there is this thread of a connected trail between Highway G and Breezewood, Bell Breezewood. And so that main trail west of the creek here flows through, comes up through the middle of the park here, and makes it to Bell Breezewood. I thought that was interesting that even back then in 02, there was the recognition that we needed to connect Highway G and Bell Breezewood, and that carries through to the next game plan. So in 23, through a series of public input sessions, meetings with staff, meetings with the Park and Recreation Commission, this was developed. And I know it's really small, and please accept my apologies. These are on the website. You can review this information through the Park and Recreation Department's website page, through the city. But I just wanted to point out, we now have all of our residents along the western side of the property. We have all of our Pendleton Drive goes through. Again, one of the main components to this overall game plan is this connecting trail system between Highway G and Bell Breezewood. A couple of the components that are here, or key components that when we were going through this plan, was we knew that the Northeast Wisconsin Land Trust was going to be responsible for this property to the north. We met with them. We also met with the town of Neenah. The great vision is to ultimately connect Highway G all the way up to JJ and then over to the CB trail that's currently in place. So this idea of a greenways corridor is very inviting to some. Some are challenged by it, but it's a very unique feature of having connectivity north to south, and that's really cool. I haven't pulled up my notes at all. The other assumptions or thoughts in this plan, possible land acquisition here, just creating a little bit more active space possibility. There was also some talk about a land swap with an adjacent property owner. That, as we look at the next mapping, has fallen off currently. That doesn't mean it goes away. It just means in our current thought process, it's not right there in the plan. Moving on. Here's our revised mapping. As you can see, we just moved this, kept this, we don't have this mapped out. We have this kept as parkland. And again, the connectivity, some of the parking lots switched to the other side, again, with the ideal more knowledge of the Northeast Wisconsin Land Trust having ownership of this property and their desire to create some sort of greenway space as well. Most importantly, and I think this is the key tonight, this was the game plan we needed to get to. And again, I know it's very small. You folks at the council table do have this in front of you. Is the most important thing to us is this color-coded 5-year implementation plan. In 25, everything that we'd like to accomplish is in 25, or is in green. 26 is in orange. 27 is in yellow. 28 in purple. And you guys, I don't need to read this to you, but it's very important from a strategic standpoint that we prepare for the following years in the current year that we're working. So everything that we do this year flows into next year and the next year, so that we don't back up and go, oh, we missed something. I think it's really important when you build a house, you put the foundation in first, you dig the hole, you put the foundation in, you put the joists in, you put the floorboards in, you build the stick walls and onward and upward and ultimately get to the roof and you frame it all in and it's a house. Same thing comes when we're trying to phase in a park plan over multiple years. Even though 5 years are listed here, if you look in red, those items have not even been identified for a year and a cost. So those are out years and some of the things that we need to consider and take care of in the future. Along with that, and all this color relates to what happens next. So most importantly, you guys probably want to know, what are you spending your dollars on? Why did you request $100,000 in 25? Right here it is. Here's the budget for 25. It's been broken out for you. In 26, we're fairly close to the 26 budget. We'll get to 27. We do know there's some already in the ground things we're doing. Much of this is construction cost estimates, so it's not perfect numbers. It's a budget. And we'll be working with our contractors, we'll be working with our vendors, as well as our volunteer team and our volunteer crew to help be part of this process of installation and building of some of these structures. So that's 25 and 26, 27 through 29 and beyond. As we get in these out years, you're starting to see less numbers. 28, 29, no numbers. Didn't really feel at this moment in time, given the economy, given where we're at, it would be fair to throw numbers in there. But as each year passes and we get better knowledge and information, we will continue to prepare the CIP budget and make those requests in the CIP budget process. The sheep are coming. I'm sure everybody is, well, I shouldn't assume that everybody knows. Most people know the Park and Recreation Commission has authorized a sheep firm to bring out sheep out to Carpenter Preserve to cover about 6 acres. That 6 acres is identified in this dotted and dashed line right here. It's going to be an interesting process. It's going to be a learning process. We've never done it here. I know that Dane County has used this. Thousand Islands has used it. The same firm that we're using was performing the same duties out at Renard Island in Green Bay. Spoke to the Port Authority director there. He was very pleased with Woolly Green Grazers, with their ownership, with their leadership, and how well they managed and took care of the sheep, took care of the property, and the care that they provided to the Port Authority. So the sheep are coming May through September, rotational basis over those 6 acres. Carpenter Preserve upcoming events. We're going to be hosting a spring information meeting Wednesday, April 23rd, 6 o'clock, Teller Shelter. I know Scott's got his handouts today. I know Jerry and Frank have been out beating on doors, talking to folks, handing these out. We do have a volunteer workday scheduled for Saturday, May 3rd. Trees will be in and ready to go. 1,100 trees. Mr. Jerry Andrews will be leading that effort, staking the trees out. He's looking for volunteers to help him plant 1,100 trees. So if you're available on that day, pay attention, be on the lookout for the location of exact meeting place. We hadn't determined that yet. We'll determine that by April 23rd. So I will end that. I will turn to Frank and Jerry. Did I miss anything? I'm going to go to Q&A after this, so if there's something you guys want to add to that presentation or thought process.
Very quickly, we are purchasing a trailer, which will stock equipment for our volunteers. We're looking to build a volunteer force in order to help partner with the city to do a lot of this development. With Fox Cities Greenways, this year we'll have $120,000 set aside for Carpenter's Preserve. And we're looking to partnership with the Community Foundation and others to help build that beyond that. Currently, the Fox Cities Greenways priority is the trail to High Cliff, but next up is Carpenter's Preserve and the linkage from County Trunk G to the north. Okay, so it is a real strategic part of their growth that they've seen. And then, of course, May 3rd, I think we're going to be working off of Pendleton on the south end. They've done some mowing down to help ease us for planting, and we'll be staking that all out. So it's exciting. This is a long-term project, trying to control the buckthorn, cut down the dead ash, and reestablish nature. It just doesn't revert to nature. We have to work at it. And so the 5-year plan is a good start, but it's going to go far beyond that in order to accomplish. Thank you.
I had one more click to go before Q&A. We've established some goals for 25 is to complete the tasks that we've previously listed. The green things in your presentation, go back and check that out. We want to establish a core volunteer group, as Jerry just has said. Identify some neighborhood liaisons. We need some folks that we can put in a room, we can feed information to, and they can share it out with our neighborhoods. Identify 2 to 3 communication and fundraising specialists or individuals. I'm not very good at social media. Shar was watching me here, getting a little nervous with this thing and getting it plugged in. But I also get involved once I'm out on a volunteer work day. I forget to take pictures. So we're really looking for some folks to help us take pictures, get them posted, keep that up to date, and continue to communicate with our residents. Final thing we're going to be doing with our team is reviewing the 26 and 27 portion of the implementation plan, making sure our budget is correct. So when we come here in late summer, fall, we've got good numbers for you guys to evaluate, as well as rolling into 27, bolster those numbers, make sure that we're on target so that we can give you a good and healthy and safe budget to work from. With that, Q&A.
Alderman Boyette.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 2 questions. Mike, first of all, can you get us a copy of those pages that had the budget with the numbers?
You should have those in front of you.
Oh, thanks.
No worries.
And the other one is we're planting 1,100?
1,100.
What kind? Do we?
We have large tamaracks, red orchard, all natives. We're trying to create a buffer around the Middleton and G area, so it isn't so open and exposed. So it'll be primarily along the roadway.
Great, thank you, I appreciate it.
Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have 2 fun questions. On this sheet right here, the volunteer work day, Saturday, May 3rd, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., it says location to be announced. Is that the tree planting, or is that something else? So are you thinking you can plant 1,100 trees from 8 to noon
In 4 hours?
in that short amount of time? Oh, cool. Okay.
Terry, they're little
I was going to say
seedlings.
they're seedlings.
Still, it's still 1,100
Well, if it
trees.
stays wet like this, we'll
redwoods.
just shove our hands in the ground and do
Oh,
it.
just push them in? Okay. And then my other,
I do actually.
my other fun question is, how are you going to keep people like me away from the sheep? Because,
When's the meet and greet?
exactly,
That's
because
not
we're going to
funny.
want to pet them.
So if you come to the April 23rd meeting,
Yeah.
Roxy from Moldy Green Grazers is going to be there. She will be answering those questions. We are planning, we don't have a date yet, but we are planning a meet and greet with the sheep.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
Roxy is a vivacious, fun, spirit-filled individual, and she's a lot of fun to be around. And she wants this to be fun for the residents, for the community. From everything I've seen, she does a really great job on her own social media, kind of keeping people posted and noted. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
So what is her social media page? Is it
Look
only
up
for
Bowling- Look up Bowling Green Grazers.
Willie Green Grazers? Okay, actually, I think I know that one. All right. Good to know. Thank you. Those are just my fun questions. Yeah, you know.
Alderman Paulno.
Thank you, Mayor. Quick question. I was just up at Urban Evolutions in Appleton, and they say that they've been working with some municipalities and other companies. They do a lot of reclaimed wood, and it's a really cool store. But they said they've been working with people for emerald ash type trees, and they've been taking them just so they can use for the reclaimed wood, and it would save on a lot of the grinding and stuff. I don't know if that's something you've thought
Urban
of.
Evolution is taking trees?
Well, I guess they're working with some municipalities and some companies for like dead trees, like emerald trees, because they want the wood for the reclaimed wood, and they come and take it. I don't know how exactly it works, but a lot of people.
We'll give them a call,
Yeah.
because that's, when you look at the stockpile out at the garage,
Yeah,
firewood than we can burn in a long time.
and
so-
that's a lot of municipalities are doing it because they don't have to take care of it then. So just thought I'd point that out.
No, great, thank you very much, I really appreciate that.
Alderman Ellis?
Thank you, Mayor. Michael and team, first of all, terrific work on all of this. I remember the conception of all of this way back when, and it might be a long time for some, but it hasn't been for all of us. My question to you and your team would be, is the ongoing, in other words, twofold, the type of maintenance, ongoing maintenance, are we looking at additional people? And then along with that, from an evolutionary standpoint, you look out at 26, 27, we may want to do this and do that. Is your group going to continue to look for different things, nuances that maybe in 29 or 30 or 31 you may be bringing? So, I mean, today's plan is not the end plan.
No, that's any good master plan is evolutionary.
Good.
It's never going to be static. You have to look at, and you might learn something tomorrow that you didn't know today that you need to do in the future.
Exactly.
Right? Technology, resources get better. Urban Evolutions becomes a partner and wants to take ash trees. Right? I mean, they're right there. Or we take those and have someone process them so that we can make planks and use them in the park. Looking, and this isn't one of the things I said, and I should have said, is in 25, all the work that we're doing in 25, when we come to 26, we have to start with the 25 work.
Right.
We got to go back to those areas, make sure that they're ready to go. Then we move into 26. Jerry knows my theory on this. You make a square, you keep your volunteers in that square, and you don't let them leave until they have it done. And then you go on to the next square. And the next volunteer date, where do you start? You start where the work you've already done,
Right.
clean that back out, then you go here, then you go here. And we have to do that as well as staff and as through the volunteer efforts as we start to clean up the park and remove the invasive species.
And then if you could talk just a little bit about, the ongoing maintenance and upkeep and what that looks like. You don't need to put numbers to that, it's too soon.
Obviously, it's of concern,
Yeah.
and we need to address that. Part of a nature preserve is once you get a quality nature preserve established, you don't have to do as much. There's still going to be work to do.
Right.
My most recent experience is up at the Rydell Conservancy, just north of Fritzie Park. That was full of buckthorn. Buckthorn was removed. We brought in Stuart from McMahon and Associates. He took care of the topical spraying. There's not much buckthorn in there anymore. But if they left it go for 10 years, guess what? There's going to be buckthorn. So it's kind of that constant need to stay on top of it. But getting back to what Jerry said, getting that core volunteer group established, trained, and able and willing to help us out on a yearly basis, that's going to be the key.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Alderman Steiner?
Thanks for this update. I think this is exciting. You kind of alluded to this, but I mean, I would welcome periodic updates, even if as this progresses, because I think this is just a lot of neat stuff that, a lot of members of the community, sometimes they ask, what's going on with that, because they're excited about the different trails and options available. So, I mean, I don't know if there could be like a quarterly or something like that, just to update on where things stand. That'd be great.
I know talking with the team, we're going to have the spring meeting. We're certainly looking at having a fall meeting. And at some point, we need to have some celebrations along the way, right?
Agree, yeah.
Can't do that in the park, but we'll figure out another way if we want to do something else. But cake and ice cream or whatever else is going on, we got to do some celebration because there's going to be a lot of hard work, a lot of time and effort put in by volunteers, and we're going to want to recognize them.
Yeah.
So I will volunteer to have you all join us during those meetings and come out and get an update or take a walk in the park. I know 2 years ago, did we go for a walk? A year and a half ago?
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like forever ago.
Okay.
Jane, when was that? A couple years ago? We took our walk? Oh, was it
Last
just
year.
last year? Okay.
It was muddy. It was raining.
It wasn't the most nice day either, right? But we'll be doing that, and that's something we'll be working with Jerry and Frank to arrange, to walk the new area, or the new areas, the cleaned out areas, and take care of business. Yeah.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Director Kading and I spoke earlier today about how I'd like him to come back to council to give periodic updates as well.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I was on the original committee back in 2002 that did the original design, and we were gonna, you know, get going on that right away. And it's a lot slimmed down version from what that was back then. There was gonna be a observation tower and an education building and, you know, lots of other things put on, especially the south end. And there became other priorities. First, there weren't many homes around there. And Memorial Park was going to be redeveloped, and that was going to be a 4-year project. That ended up being a 7-year project to do the southwest part of Memorial Park. So Carpenter's just been kind of pushed off every year, and every year under Director McCoy or now under Director Kading, I've got, you know, when are we finally going to do this? And so now we're finally at it. So I'm just really happy we're doing this. One question. Why sheep and not goats? Because people are going to ask that, because they usually hear
Great
goats are going to
question.
do this.
Al Johnson has them all.
Well, it's interesting because I thought we were getting goats. But in talking with Roxy, the owner of Woolly Green Grazers, you know, when she looked at the field in the area that we're proposing, most of it's ground. Most of it's on the turf. The goats are used when we need to go up high. So we're going to start with the sheep. She does have, in partnership with other organizations, have access to goats. So if we feel that we need to bring in a couple goats because we got some other things growing taller that they want to climb up on, we're going to bring in some goats. But that's the primary reason. Great question.
Any additional questions?
No,
Weber.
no questions, but I just want to thank first Michael for pulling this together, but also just again thank Jerry and Frank. Right, they really, I think they epitomize, right, you know, volunteerism, and just hopefully we can get more of that energy. I think with folks, not just for Carpenter Preserve, but other places in the city. Right, so thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. There's nothing under item 3. I would like to ask for unanimous consent to postpone the approval of the minutes from the March 19th meeting until the next council meeting on April 15th. Is there any objection to postponing the approval of the council minutes and proceedings of March 19th to the April 15th council meeting? Seeing none, those proceedings will be approved at the next council meeting. The next item on the agenda is the public forum. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to speak during the public forum? This is your opportunity to speak before council on any topic you would like to address the council on. You have 5 minutes to speak, and please give your name and residential address.
All right. Thank you. Frank Cuthbert, 1533 Fowler Drive, Neenah. Mayor Lang, city council members, and department heads. I would like to speak in favor of the work that has been done and the planning and work that is going to be done for the Carpenter Preserve. So a lot of what I'm going to say has already been said, but I'll try to say it in a different way so that it doesn't sound like I'm repeating. First, I would like to thank Director Kading, the Park and Recreation Committee, the Park and Recreation staff, and all the volunteers for the work they have done to remove buckthorn, planting trees, and laying bark on the existing trails. I would also like to thank Mike personally for including me in the meetings, modifying the plans when it came to the trail locations, as was requested by the neighbors around the preserve, and inviting me to come along and meet Roxy, the Woolly Green Grazer owners. So, yeah, thank you for putting up with me. A little history about the area. As Mike said, the Carpenter Preserve was first established in 1996. At that time, there were no houses, only a farm field, a creek, and that was only 28 years ago, so not that long ago. Again, in 2002, prior to the bulk of the surrounding residential developments. The original concept master plan was created, and as Lee said, it was quite, there was quite a bit to it. The preserve at the time had some trees, but it was mostly field grass. Early on, the grass was actually mowed every year by the city. Later on, the trees that were there were allowed to grow, and the paths through the woods were sort of informally put together. Fast forward, the land surrounding the preserve is now nearly completely developed. The preserve is filled with buckthorn, thistle, other invasive plants, and dead ash trees. And there's a lot of dead ash trees. So the Park and Rec Department has taken up the challenge to clear out the invasive plants, replant native trees, and create a pathway system that won't flood and turn to mud in the spring, that won't get washed away by the creek, and creates a park that can be enjoyed by everyone. As the city of Neenah continues to grow to the south and the west, the preserve, with these improvements and developments of additional pathways, especially in the southern area, will be a place that can be enjoyed by these folks. As Director Kading has shown, the master plan is broken up into years and what is expected to be accomplished and the areas of the preserve that we're looking at. Again, funding for these operations will be critical to the success, as delay in removal of invasive plants, creating trails, and repairing existing paths will only get more difficult. In order to succeed, the master plan will rely on volunteers. Myself, Jerry, and I think last year planting we had about 30 volunteers out there. That's how we got 1,000 trees in, as well as the city. My part of being a volunteer started about 2 years ago, helping Jerry and Mike. We started removing buckthorn. We started laying out the bark on the existing paths. Last year we came back and we planted all those trees, and this year we're going to have, again, another volunteer day. We're also looking forward to the sheep. Regarding Alderman Ellis's question, if I may, about the process. So my specific neighbors decided with approval that we were going to get rid of all the buckthorn because we butt right up against the north side on the eastern part of it. It took us 3 months to get just our backyards cleared. And it's probably going to be a battle for the next 5 years to keep them down. So it is a huge and ongoing issue. But we are determined. We're now moving farther. Next are the neighbors to the south and to the north. So on our own, we're going to try and at least do our little part. You can already see the difference on Google Maps. So please continue to support this effort, and the city will be a better, greener, and healthier one. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public forum?
Hello, my name is Susan Garcia Franz. I live at 1790 Wendy Way in Fox Crossing, but I'm here again. I was here last meeting, but I'm here again from Winnebago County Public Health. And I'm here just as a FYI information for the council as we want to continue to improve relations as public health, that the upcoming week is Public Health Week statewide. So as part of that, part of the efforts with Winnebago County Health Department, we really are trying to put some efforts out into our community throughout the Winnebago County areas, but specifically in each jurisdiction that we do represent, to make sure that people know public health, know the people that work in public health, and then what are some of the issues that we are addressing as public health. So one of our key issues is that we're doing in Neenah is bringing awareness on breaking the overdose stigma, where we're doing a presentation at Vinnie's Pantry on Monday, April 7th. Doors open at 4 p.m. The presentation starts at 4:30 p.m. It'll be a presentation of a TED Talk that Jennifer Skolaski did back it was a TED Talk Oshkosh that she did, really addressing the We Heart You campaign, that really addressing the issue of overdose and what resources we have in our community, and as we work on harm reduction and making sure folks know that we are here as a resource with public health and in their community. We'll be talking about the vending machine that's outside the county office in Neenah and the resources that are available. And just so you know, this past week, over the weekend's time, that vending machine was used continuously where people needed the resources. We have things in there like Narcan and some basic needs kits, and it had to be reloaded on Monday. It was almost empty. So it is being used in your community. There's a need in the community. Public health is here in different capacities. We have the WIC office in Neenah. We also have that down in Oshkosh as well. And then there's different services and programming that we are able to offer and do presentations on at any time. We just, anytime you call us, reach out to us, we will be there to present more information. We're also doing on the 8th, April 8th, we're doing Narcan training in Winneconne at the library at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 4:30 is the actual presentation. April 9th, we are going to do an intergenerational bingo size. So we do have staff that do healthy aging, and they do things, different activities with our populations, and so they're doing an intergenerational bingo size. That's going to take place at the Omro Community Center. And then on the 10th, we have How to Thrive in Emergency, Tips from a Preparedness Specialist, and that's happening at the Oshkosh Senior Center. So those are types of presentations that can happen anywhere and different locations. So we just look forward to celebrating Public Health Week. We want everyone to know public health's here as a resource. Our general number is 920-232-3000. So, but we do we ask people to go on our website. We also put out a newsletter. The Neenah Joint School District sends out the public health happenings. If you don't get it, let us know. We would love to send it through your communications folks to get it as well and send it out to all your city staff, because we want everyone to know what public health's doing, what's happening. There are things happening all the time. I'm sure you're hearing about measles outbreaks in different cities throughout the country. I'm sure there's different things that you're hearing. We want the most current information to be in the hands of the people so that we can continue to be a resource. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And again, I'm willing to come here anytime. I'll try to check in more often, and I'm an advocate for folks in the city of Neenah as well as Fox Crossing and throughout the county, but really focusing on this northern half of the county and making sure you're represented with public health. So thanks so much. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for coming today. I did go visit the vending machine because it's kitty corner from the Y, so it's real close in that social services building. It was outside. Is it still sitting outside? Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. So when I went to go see it, I was surprised that how you had to contact somebody in order to get access to Narcan and some of the other things that are in the machine. So I can't remember. It wasn't an email. I can't remember what it was. But how long between, like, say, if I wanted, let's just say Narcan, and I use that contact information, how long before I could get access? Does somebody come out right away, or?
It's 24/7. So actually, it's just a PIN number. So we gather. There's basic data information, very basic, like zip code, and basic data information that's gathered. A PIN is offered, and then that is issued for a certain length of time, for which it's usually a 3-month length of time, for which they're instructed how many items they can take out at that time during that time. Those can be all in that the first time you use it, and you can take them all out, or you could do it over a 3-month period of time with that same PIN number. So, and this is definitely a program in conjunction with the state Department of Health Services as well.
But is it immediate? Like when I contact that number?
You'll get that PIN number.
Okay, so it's right away.
you get the PIN number, you can take out the items.
That's my question.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I
and I
appreciate
want to let you know, you have to take them out one at a time because otherwise it'll jam. Otherwise it could jam. It could jam. It's one of those rollers if you
Sure.
ever had the chip stuck.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about. So but we're trying to make sure it's foolproof in terms of the jamming, and we have people available that oversee that.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks so much for being here, for having me.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in the public forum?
Hello, my name is Samuel Roth. I live at 611 East Doty Avenue in Ward 3 in Neenah. Good evening, members of the council, city staff, and fellow residents. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to formally request that the election office provide a convenient file of registered voter turnout data for each election dating back to 2007 and for all elections moving forward. Specifically, the voter turnout data that I'm seeking is to be broken down by ward. It should include summary values of registered voters and summary values of voters who participated in the election. And it's important that it's broken down by ward. Recently, I reached out to the Winnebago County Clerk, and she provided me registered voter turnout data going back to 1990. This data was really interesting to me. However, when I focused in on Neenah, where I live, I wanted to understand specifically how my ward performed. And my ward was always grouped together with other wards in what I understand to be reporting units. And so I wasn't able to get to the granularity that I was seeking. So I'm coming here to make that request, mostly because I generally believe that since wards are the smallest political divisions that residents directly associate with, having local turnout data available at this level would be beneficial in understanding and strengthening local civic engagement within our neighborhoods. So I respectfully ask that past data be provided and for future elections to have this level of granularity if it is acceptable, and I do believe it is legal. So that is my request. I thank you. Does anybody have any questions about what I'm seeking?
I guess not. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in the public forum? Seeing no one, I will close the public forum. Is there anyone on the council who would like to speak on any of the public forum issues? Go ahead.
I just have a quick question on the gentleman that was just up for his request. Do we have a policy for that? What's the process for that? What he just did, is that acceptable? Or does he need to fill out a form in the clerk's office? Or I've never heard this before, so now I'm intrigued.
He provided an open records request, and we are working on it. However, please be advised that if a record does not exist, we do not have to provide one.
Understandable. I was just curious what the actual policy was on it. Thank you.
Any other comments from council?
Mayor?
Alderman Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question for either Mike or Jerry or Frank on the volunteer day. What are people supposed to bring? Are they supposed to bring a shovel? Or are they supposed to bring something to work? Okay.
Muscles, yeah.
Will that be listed on the
Yeah.
website, park website or something? Okay, thank you. That's right.
Any other council comments? Seeing none, I will move on. Sorry, we'll move on. There's nothing on the consent agenda. Public Services and Safety Committee was canceled, no report. Finance and Personnel was canceled, no report. So the Neenah Fire Rescue Joint Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of March 25th. Alderman Boyette.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out on the Neenah Fire Rescue Joint Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of March 25th. Committee recommends both councils ratify the acceptance of the EMS Funding Assistance Program award of $150,302.12, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Boyette, seconded by Alderman Ellis. Is there any discussion on this item?
The chief is here if there are any questions for him.
Alderman Pulno.
Thank you, Mayor. GT Shack, could you come forward and explain kind of, this one's a little different. It's an award, but it's kind of like outside the whole budgetary universe. And if you could kind of explain how that will work, that would be great.
Yeah, this is an award that was, we were never eligible to receive it before. The last budget cycle at the state, they made changes to the way the FAP, that's the Funding Assistance Program, is handed out. It used to be that you had to have a transporting ambulance service to receive some of these monies. They kind of broadened that. We operate with emergency medical responders, EMRs. We don't have a transporting ambulance, but we do provide on-scene medical care. So they said you can go ahead and apply for this, some of this money too. They also increased the amount of money, the FAP money that they give out. It was $2.2 million for 25 plus years, and they increased that to 25 million. So there's a bigger pot of money. We were able to apply for it, so we did. And the application process was pretty much, what's your population of the areas you serve? What's your call volume, and are you eligible to apply? 3 questions you answer, and they divide the money based on a 3-part formula and give it to fire departments and ambulance services.
And just to clarify, though, this is money it can't be used to shuffle things or, eliminate things.
There's specific rules. We can't use this to reduce any money in our budget, and we have to use it on certain EMS-related things.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
And that concludes my final report.
Thank you for your report. There was no Plan Commission meeting. The next item is the Neenah Arts Council. That report will be postponed until the next council meeting when Alderman Erickson is here. Sustainable Neenah Committee, Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. Due to a lack of a quorum during that meeting, there's no report tonight.
Thank you. Park and Rec Commission report, Alderman Weber, is there anything additional to report?
Yeah, just maybe 2 additional things. The Park and Rec Commission did meet on March 20th, and the minutes will be on the city website. We actually met initially, a little bit of a field trip, and met at Douglas Park, just so the commission could see the current state of the park. Director Kaiser was there as well, and some of the other staff, just to see the construction, and just because there's going to be ongoing discussions of future needs, or should efforts and things be put in other places throughout the commission's needs. So more to come on that as we get through the next couple of months here. And then just one other key point: the Doty Park Shoreline Project is going out in the bid process now, so we should be hearing some more back to the council here as we get closer to the end of May and June timeframe to get that rolling forward and get construction started in the end of summer, early fall. That concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Are there any petitions? No petition. Are there any council directives? Is there any unfinished business? Is there any new business? Then we are on the almost final item on the agenda tonight. I'm going to have a hard time with this, so. I'm going to read a statement, but it's going to be hard. And then I'm going to read a statement from Council President Borchert and that he provided to me. So I'll start with mine. We are saying goodbye this evening to two of our long-serving aldermen. Alderman Kathy Boyette, who served from 2016 to present, will be retiring from her role after many years of serving the city. Kathy has been deeply involved as an advocate for her district, District 1, and the broader city over the past 9 years. During her tenure, Kathy served on the Loan Assistance Board, the Water Commission, the Finance and Personnel Committee as vice chair, and for the past year as the chair of the Neenah Fire Rescue Joint Finance and Personnel Committee. She will be greatly missed, and we wish her well in her next endeavors. I'm certain she will continue to make a positive difference for this community. Lee Hillstrom served from 2007 to 2009, 2010 to 2018, and 2021 to 2025. For a total of 16 years, Alderman Hillstrom had previously served on the Parks and Rec Commission beginning in 2001 and had been in that role continuously since that time for a total of 24 years. He also is one of the leaders of the Neenah Fun Run organization, which celebrates its 30th year in 2025. So keep your eye out for that event coming up. In more recent years, Lee has become a state and national speaker and advocate for cancer patients, and his dedication to that cause has been demanding a great deal of his time. Although he'll be stepping away from his longtime role as alderman, we're certain he'll be maintaining his constant support and advocacy for the city and especially its park system. And who knows? Lee seems to have a hard time actually retiring, so maybe he'll be back. We will never say never with Lee. Sincere thanks go to both of them and to all who serve as aldermen for our city. It's a job that most often goes unnoticed, as does any true public servant job. To truly commit oneself to the improvement of one's community above one's individual benefit or gain is something to be admired and acknowledged. So again, thank you to Kathy and thank you to Lee for putting the needs and interests of the city as a whole as your priority and giving your time to public service. And Council President Brian Borchert's message to the two of you. Mayor Lang, directors, and council members, I'm genuinely sorry to miss tonight's meeting. I debated reading this part, even though I am probably on a beach relaxing with a tropical drink. I wanted to share a few short words about our departing aldermen and their dedicated service to our city. Alderman Hillstrom truly embodies the essence of a public servant, not only in your dedicated work on the city council, but also through your impactful contributions to cancer advocacy. Your deep love for the city is reflected in your unwavering commitment to every detail, always asking thoughtful questions and striving to understand the far-reaching effects of each decision on our community. While your wisdom and compassion will be greatly missed, the legacy of your work will continue to resonate within this council and our city for years to come. Many years ago, I had the privilege of speaking with Alderman Boyette at the very Neenah Christmas event, where she shared her heartfelt passion for serving our community. Her dedication and commitment planted a seed that eventually led me to take the leap into public service. That same passion for advocating on behalf of her constituents has been evident throughout the years we've served together on the council. Kathy, thank you for being the voice of those who often go unheard. Your presence and unwavering dedication on this council will be deeply missed. Council President Brian Borchert. You are, anyone is welcome to make
I was just
additional
going
comments.
I didn't prepare anything. I was just going to thank the voters because I wouldn't be here without them. Brian's right. I did tend to stick up more for the people that didn't think that they were heard or weren't part of big, important groups of people. I think a few of my most proud things that I have done, oh gosh, here we go. The first thing I ever did was have a deaf child sign put up in my neighborhood. And that was important. That was more important than arguing over parks. To me, that was what I was here for. Let's see, I don't know, just a lot of good memories. One in particular I shared with Tony. It was pretty comical. I think you had to be there to really appreciate it, but what was that thing I was in? Big tank inside the water plant, and a little bit of water in it, and I had waders on, and I was 100 pounds wet at the time, and I had a hold of Kent's arm, and I was so buoyant in there that I was afraid I was gonna capsize because there wasn't enough water for me to do that, but I couldn't walk through it. We were investigating for cracks and paint chips or whatever, the safety of where we store our good water, and so that was pretty important. At that point, my life was in Tony's hands because he stood outside the door and could close it anytime he wanted to and fill the tank back up. Just joking, I know he would never do that, but I did put my life in his hands that day. I've been in all the water towers. I was very proud to be there when the new Plexus building went online and got to watch him hook up the water main. Kind of a geek that way, but that was really kind of fun. The rest of my fun times were all the field trips I got to do with the fire station and the fire department and attend their trainings and their graduation ceremonies. And those guys always have a lot of food and good cake, and everybody's always happy. So those are always good times. Very proud to be able to take baked goods every Christmas to each fire department, let them know that they were appreciated and thought of. Just things like that. So I want to thank everyone for all the memories. So thank you.
Sure.
I was going to go before you. Talk about you.
Go ahead.
Can I go next?
Yes. Sorry, Lee.
You're not allowed to talk.
I'm just slowly starting to lose my composure, so I want to go now. And yeah, so anyway, Kathy, it's been a blast having you as a fellow Doty Island council member at the same time, and I cannot wait to hear about your next part of your life. You and I have talked several times about some of the fun things that you're
the miniature
really
donkey and the little
miniature donkey
cows
kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. So
we might be still starting with these sheep.
I know it.
Mike.
So I can't wait to hear that. So, Lee, I can't look at you. Oh, shoot. Okay. If anyone wants to know what a true public servant is like, look at Alderman Hillstrom. Actually, the only problem with that is he does so many things under the radar for the residents of this city that you have no idea what he does. Picks up trash constantly. He doesn't talk about it. He just does it. And that, to me, is a definition of a true public servant. Definitely not a politician. Not a politician. So the only reason that I'm not guilt-tripping him into staying on is he's getting now national attention for his cancer work. He started out with this little idea. You know, you hear a lot about support groups for breast cancer and other women's cancers. You don't really hear about men and having support for them. And I thought, in the back, I didn't say anything to him. I thought, that's not going to work. They're not going to show up. They're men. They don't do that. Well, they showed up. They showed up the first time, and he has been meeting ever since. And I think the last group that meets right here in Neenah, talk about an incredible resource that we have right here in Neenah, a men's cancer support group. I think he had 65 men show up. I'm shocked. But he is so approachable, I think, for other men, too. He's first of all, he's very, very warm and kind, and clearly not judgmental. But to have that resource right here in Neenah, and Lee started it and continues and is going stronger and stronger and is now getting national attention for this, blows my mind. So the words, "we will miss you," doesn't come close to how we all feel about you. Thank you, Mayor.
I was doing fine until that. I'll still be here, doing a lot. You know, I wrote my speech out, and I've changed it about 7 times, and I've kept trying to make it shorter and not much longer than a Board of Public Works meeting report. And so this is what I got. So, well, I was first elected at a council 18 years ago. I've been attending council meetings since the 70s. Yeah, I'm that old. That's the 1970s, by the way. I was appointed as a citizen member of the Ad Hoc Cable TV Committee, along with Alderman Allison Shirk. That's how far back I go, after complaining about the city's higher costs and smaller channel lineup. There was a time where we had an executive from Warner Cable fly in from Columbus, Ohio for each of our meetings, in a time when we actually had some power controlling our rates and channel selection, until the federal government and then the state government took that away from us with the promise of keeping our rates low. So, yeah, that little history bit. That was 7 mayors ago, with many changes with department heads and staff. What is so impressive for a city our size is the high quality of people who want to work here and stay here, even though they can make more money in larger cities. This evening, I want to thank all those workers for our city for their great work they do, how well our departments work together for the good of our city, and how much help they have given me over my 16 years I've been on this council. They also care a great deal about each other, and I greatly appreciate the tremendous amount of support from them as I battled cancer twice in those first 12 years on the council. If you haven't been through cancer or some other serious illness, you wouldn't understand how helpful that support can be. I may hold the record for the number of ways I found myself sitting here again and again. First, moving on from a primary in 2007 and then winning over an incumbent, even though Channel 2 had me losing that evening. I ran unopposed the next 3 times before retiring to spend more time helping people fight cancer. 2 years later, the person who had replaced me moved out of the city, and the council felt confident enough in me coming back to elect me again. I again applied to retire from the council, and I filled out the paperwork not to run 3 years ago, but no one wanted my seat on the council. So after some encouragement from a few council members and an understanding wife, I ran as a write-in candidate and won. So I will never say never again. I came to this council as vice president of a small business for 48 years and was immediately frustrated by how long it took to make decisions. I was used to making immediate decisions, solving problems, not waiting months or years to accomplish something that needed to be done. Changes in how I live my life and priorities changed when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2008 and then having a return in 2014. Over my 38 days of radiation treatments, I wrote in a journal, and those notes were turned into a story that I gave my cancer navigator, which was then read by everyone in the Theta Care Cancer Center. I was asked by that navigator and a cancer counselor to start and lead a much-needed prostate cancer support group. I knew nothing about a support group, and had no idea what to do, but of course they said yes. And we have grown to be one of the largest in-person groups in the United States. While other groups I attend are very happy to have 10 people attending, as Carrie said 2 weeks ago, I had over 60. There's a shortage of men willing to speak on the physical and mental effects of the cancer they deal with. So of all people, I am now asked to speak at events. Last year I spoke at the Wisconsin Cancer Summit in Milwaukee. I spoke at a cancer prayer service at a church with over 200 attending. I was also offered to be paid to speak on opportunities in Texas and Washington, D.C., which I turned down, along with a video interview for the American Cancer Society in California, followed by a second interview here, which I also turned down. I also spend 12 months out of the year working on the Neenah Summer Fun Run series, which will be celebrating its 30th year starting on June 1st. I expect there will be between 700 and 800 or more runners, 14 and under there. In our 29 years of fun runs, we estimate that there have been between 20,000 and 25,000 runners in our program. They're so highly thought of that we have 36 sponsors this year. While I'm proud of so much that has happened while I've served on the council, I have been disappointed in some of the not in my backyard votes. My feelings are, as a city, we need to provide a safe way for all abilities and ages to travel on sidewalks. My biggest disappointment was not approving the zoning change with a great offer to develop the Shattuck Middle School, property that now sits deteriorating and vandalized with no trespassing signs. We missed out on housing need identified in the recent housing study, and now hear about developers fearing coming into our city. Now for some really good news, and that is the largest development opportunity for our city since we started development of our industrial park in the 70s, and that is Arrowhead Park. Having been on the Parks and Recreation Commission for 24 years, I've had the opportunity to listen to several developers talk about and show examples of what has happened in other cities who have done similar developments. Besides the park itself being developed with both private and public money, it will attract people from all over the Fox cities and bring tens of millions of dollars in retail and housing development in that area. I need to thank all of those who have voted for me over the years, and for those who are angry with me when I supported sidewalks or apartments on Northwestern Avenue, Pendleton Road, Winneconne Avenue, at Bridgewood, and at Shattuck. I would not hesitate to vote that way again. Now retired Director Hayes taught me a long time ago to not just look at the present with my votes, but to look out 10 years, 30 years or more to see what my vote should be. I would like to thank my fellow aldermen and those who I have worked with before them for their contributions to our great city. I'm sure they have also missed out on events important to them because of council and committee obligations. Certainly nobody runs for alderman in Neenah for the money. I'd also like to thank Dan over at Video for all the years he's been over there and doing a great job for us, so thank you, Dan. I appreciate that in Neenah, we are still okay with being called aldermen, while other cities have shortened that to older. The definition of older being is a shrub or tree belonging into the genus Ulmus of the birch family. That is not what we are. I have known 7 mayors and been alderman with 3 of them. Mayor Lang is right up there with the best this city has seen. I have been impressed since day one with her leadership abilities, her decision-making, and her caring about each person who works for our city. And I hope she will continue to lead our city for many more years. Each morning, I pray that as an alderman or a citizen of our city, I will do my best to make it a better place to live, work, and play. That as an alderman, I will vote in the best interests of our city, even though my personal viewpoint may differ slightly, to speak when certain viewpoints are needed to be said, and to not speak when what I might say might be detrimental. While I may be leaving the council, I will still be on the Parks and Recreation Commission and wouldn't be opposed to filling a citizen opening on certain committees. I'm proud to say I'm from Neenah, Wisconsin, with a wonderful life it has given our family and how respected our city is from people I talked with from over the state. It's time for cake. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Boyette. Thank you, Alderman Hillstrom. Would you like to argue over making a motion to adjourn?
Go ahead, I'll second.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.